Sitting Senator Dianne Feinstein does not have authority over her legal and financial affairs. The 90-year-old senator's daughter holds power of attorney over an internal battle over the family's fortune. This, according to the New York Times.
Congress members Barbara Lee, Adam Schiff, and Katie Porter are waiting in the wings to run for Feinstein's seat. When she leaves, journalist Glenn Greenwald speculated about why Democrats refuse to push the six-term senator to resign. Quote, Dianne Feinstein is 90 in her sixth term, rarely knows where she is. Her daughter has power of attorney over her, and her kids and the kids of her third husband, a military contractor mogul, are already fighting over her money. But Dems don't want her to resign for this reason. Pelosi and Schumer are demanding Feinstein not resign because they're afraid her replacement will be Barbara Lee, and they want Adam Schiff in the seat instead. Lee is 1,000 times better than Schiff. That's why they want Schiff, a raging authoritarian and pathological liar. Wow, Jess. Glenn Greenwald did not mince words at all there. I mean, Jess, this is a part of an ongoing conversation we're having in the country right now, whether it's President Biden at 80, Donald Trump close to 80. You have, you saw what just happened a couple days ago with Minority Leader in the Senate. I mean, he had that 20-second stare off, people concerned about his health. What is going on, Mitch McConnell, that is, what's going on with these octogenarians? And should we have an age limit in Congress? I think we should.
I think potentially members of Congress are afraid to retire because members of Congress keep threatening to cut Social Security. I think maybe they're just going to stay in as long as possible. A lot of folks have made the joke that Congress has become taxpayer-funded hospice. I think we really need to think critically about how good of a job a senator like Feinstein is doing when they have an aide and another member of Congress in their ear saying, just say aye to vote for $874 billion in defense spending. That's a decision of high consequence. And I know even in Dianne Feinstein's prime, she was still voting along party lines, but at some point we have to say we didn't vote for the aides. We didn't vote for her friends in Congress to cast ballots in that seat. We voted for her, unfortunately. I'm not in her district, so when I say we, I don't mean me. I mean Americans, her electorate. That needs to change. We need someone in that seat who can actually represent the constituents that vote for them. They need to be the ones making the decisions, and it's a really bad situation when the party can manipulate politics so much that they have so much influence over who gets into that seat next. Waiting until the district is cut in a certain way or until they've got their ducks in a row enough that they're sure Schiff can win in that seat so that Barbara Lee doesn't end up taking that seat. It's just absolutely absurd.
I mean, this is why people do not trust either political party in terms of the establishment. I think Glenn Greenwald is correct. You have a Democratic establishment literally hijacking a Senate seat because their preferred candidate may not win. Well, what happened just to the people of California being able to make a determinative decision for who they want to represent their best interests? And if that person is indeed Barbara Lee, then Senator Barbara Lee should indeed be elected. But no, they're not doing this. They're literally orchestrating the game, and they're treating the voters as if they're puppets, and they're the puppet masters pulling the strings saying, oh, now, you know, good little creature, we're going to decide what role you play. We're going to decide what's in your best interest. This is why people do not trust the political apparatus. This is why so many Americans completely disengage from the process. But Jess, I think this is a clear example of why people need to be involved. Because clearly there are people in Washington, D.C. who want to make the decisions for the rest of us without our consent. And that's not the way politics is supposed to work in this country.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. When I think about how old Feinstein is, that her daughter has power of attorney to make decisions about the family's fortune while Dianne Feinstein is still alive. If she can't make decisions about her personal finances and her family, can she make decisions on behalf of millions of Americans? No, I don't think so. I think most people would say probably not. And so why is she still in that seat? Why has she not retired? Why is the party not retired? All they need is a body and someone to vote along the party line. That is their standard. So something needs to change with the way we do party politics, because I think most people don't really care about the person they're voting into the Senate as being a hardline party politician. They care about people representing them and making good decisions that drive the country forward and business in their state forward, making the economy go well, not just for businesses, but also for working people. We haven't seen necessary changes in many, many years, and especially in the state of California, where not only do we have Dianne Feinstein, we have Nancy Pelosi's daughter pushing Dianne Feinstein around in the wheelchair. Let's think about Pelosi's influence in politics and how she's grown her wealth to the tune of millions and millions since coming into Congress. That's absurd. That is precisely why we don't see politicians like Dianne Feinstein representing us even in their prime. So a lot's got to change. And I think just putting the term limits on members of Congress would do a lot. I think if they have to be of a certain age in order to run for Congress, they should have a cap as well. And I think the cognitive test idea isn't so bad either. I think that could be a really good measure of who should be in Congress and who is not. Just passing a basic cognitive test, I don't think is something Dianne Feinstein could do right now.
No, I think you're right. And I mean, Nancy Pelosi's wealth has increased not only to the tunes of millions, Jess, but hundreds of millions. I think it's estimated that she has a net worth now of around $400+ million, which is ridiculous to me. But I think we need to have mandatory retirements, Jess. In this country, 65 people retire. At Dianne Feinstein's age, Jess, she could not join a board of a major corporation in this country. Why? Because they have age regulations. And after a certain age, you just cannot join that board because they want to make sure that you have the physical and mental aptitude to make proper decisions. Why don't we have something similar for members of Congress? U.S. taxpayers should pay for representation. Not just a body, whether it's a Democrat or Republican, taking a vote, because that is the deciding factor for the party apparatus. I think this is one of the single issues that unites Democrats and Republicans, where people look at this and they say, this is what's wrong with politics in America. It's not about everyday people. It's about wealthy individuals with influence who only care about their interests. They're not talking about working class issues, whether you're someone in an urban environment who votes Democrat or you're someone who lives in a rural environment and you vote for Republicans. Your interest is not key and center for these individuals. Their only primary concern here, Jess, in my opinion, is about maintaining power at every cost. And that is just not right to the American people.
That's absolutely true. I think it's also bold how much they clearly believe they can get away with this, because we had Mitch McConnell freeze on camera in a press conference for, like you said, like 10, 20 seconds before aides stepped in and said, do you have anything more to say to the press? Which is an absurd question because he stopped mid-sentence. He didn't even finish what he was already saying to the press. But then later on, for him to get asked, what happened there? Like, are you doing okay? And for him to just nod and say, I'm fine, and walk away and not address what happened. They know that they can get away with it. Dianne Feinstein has not made a public statement about what's going on in her office, despite this being in the news cycle. That's a problem as well. They think the news cycle will continue on. People will forget about these gaffes, and they can just continue serving in public office. That should not be their belief. They should have some sense that there will be accountability, but they don't, because clearly there won't be accountability, especially from the party. And the system is designed so that there can't be accountability from the public because of how the party runs elections and has gerrymandered districts. That's a sad situation, but they can just carry on like nothing's happened at all.
Yes, I think you're absolutely right, but we got to get better, guys. More Rising right after this.